Hello and welcome back to another episode of Syken Guides. Today we are continuing our little journey in how to manipulate or understand the depth of AI behavior in XCOM 2. I can repeat the intro any time of the day. If you want to improve your XCOM gameplay and you know the basics, then this is the single best and the most reliable way of becoming better in XCOM, because once you understand that you cannot kill every single unit in the first round, in some of the cases, specifically if you have pulled multiple packs, you need to know what an enemy will do and what you can rely on, and therefore then you can also deduct from it which enemy unit are you going to destroy first, and which one are you going to let stay alive. Today's episode will cover the Beastial units, Mutons, Faceless ones, and Berserkers. I'll leave the good old Chrysalids for the next episode, so they will come together with a few other units. Anyways, let's move on to these three units. So, for starters, two of them are non-humanoids, the Faceless one and the Berserker. Therefore, not only can they not take... They are biological, but not humanoid. So they cannot take cover, and they also don't have a preservance for their own life. They will simply charge at you and try to kill you whenever they can. The Muton is a little bit different in that regard. If you are flanking them, they will try to move into a non-flanked position. However, if you are standing relatively close to their movement, they do have 12 movements, so if you are within 6, say right here-ish, they will try to melee you. And that already brings us into a deep dive on each of their abilities. So let's talk about mutants first. I already started with indicating that you can, quote-unquote, tank or cheese a mutant by standing in their proximity. They will, as a result of it, try to melee you. If given the chance, even if you're exposing yourself, they will always prefer melee over ranged combat. Keep in mind, mutants do have a few melee-related perks. They do have counter-strikes or retaliation, which 66% of the time when you attack them in melee will mean that they block it and will counter it. One easy way of dealing with that is using Bladestorm, because Bladestorm triggers on their melee attack, and Bladestorm in their defense cannot be retaliated upon, because there is no infinite loop between Bladestorm and retaliation. So if they attack you in melee and you just stand next to them, they will get attacked first with Bladestorm. It's just a little info. Second info that you should know about is they do have grenades. They will use a 3 size grenade, explosion grenade, whenever it is feasible to do that. So if you, for instance, put 2 operatives here, they would rather prefer to throw a grenade and hit both of them, potentially move back and throw that grenade, because they would remove cover instead of going for them. So that supersedes it, which means for mutants it is valuable to spread out instead of standing clustered up. Thirdly, mutants do have suppression, which they will use whenever the hit chances is far below 25-ish percent. So if you are in full cover, they do have pretty low chances to hit anyway. So if everybody stands in full cover, there is a pretty good chance that the mutant will just go into suppression. Just like other suppression characters, they will use the suppression more often if you are having abilities that force you to move, such as tracing shot from the Hunter Chosen, the Codex's bomb, or the Archon's Blazing Pinion. So keep that in mind, that they will use suppression in combination with others more often. The easiest way of dealing with mutants is simply to kill them relatively early and make them a priority. If you can't do that, I would suggest trying to eat the melee attack. Mind you, the melee attack can stun, but it doesn't. It does very rarely crit. Has a lower crit chance than their gun, and it is a good way of dealing with them if you can get close. The other option is to simply stay in full cover. Mutants are not particularly good at shooting, so contrary to what Bradford may want to make you believe, if you actually have a good position, say you do have full cover, and 8 protocol here to make that full cover, it's totally fine and reasonable to stay with the Muton and just let them shoot. Moving on to the Beastial units, which function a little bit different. Both the Faceless one and the Berserker do have commonalities. They can only move and then attack, unlike the Chrysalids, who can double move and then attack. So if you keep your distance from them, it's very easy to actually work around them. Matter of fact, those two can be hard countered by a flashbang grenade. The flashbang also disables the suppression and the grenade ability of the mutant, so it would be left with only the melee attack. So that triple pack here could very much be hard countered by a flashbang grenade. Since both of the bestial creatures have 50% movement reduction with flashbang grenades, they almost cannot reach you. So there is a difference in the attack though between Faceless ones and mutants. Faceless ones do have a cone-wide attack, and they are attacking in a range of 2. So say if he would attack here, everything in this area would be attacked. It destroys any structure that it hits, so there are a couple of consequences of that. Number one, if they hit something in a gas station, for instance, or near a car, the car explodes, so add that as damage whenever you are near. Faceless ones never go into any form of cover that could explode. Secondly, it will always break the terrain beneath you, even if you and the Faceless one then will fall to the ground. That's additional damage that you need to think about. Plus, if you're clustering up with multiples, then of course the Faceless one will, on top of that, hit multiple characters. Faceless ones do have regeneration, 2 hit points per round. Regeneration happens before the ticks of incendiary rounds and poison rounds. So poisoning and incinerating them is a way of keeping the hit point regeneration in check. But say if you leave it with 2 hit points and it burns, that doesn't mean that it will die. Just an FYI public service announcement, that won't work either. Faceless ones will always strive to go to the nearest target, hit it, and try to destroy it. Faceless ones will even hit their own targets, and by doing that, they will damage them. So, Berserkers are a little bit different. Berserkers can be hit and have a passive ability called Rage. They enrage after getting hit, and every single shot will send them further into rage. There is a stacking cumulative chance of an ability called Blinding Rage. Once they are in Blinding Rage, they will attack any humanoid, that is important, humanoid character near them, so they cannot distinguish between you and Advent anymore. They will not attack other Berserkers, they will not attack other beast-like creatures, and they will also not attack mechanical creatures. If you have a proof that they do that differently, then please let me know. Blind Rage doesn't happen that often, so this is just me seeing it, let's say, 25, 30 times, and that is what the outcome of Blind Rage would have been. Both of the characters, however, are fully affected by poison, so since they do have a low hit chance, they can both be poisoned and make it easier to tank them. One difference between both is the Faceless one can jump and traverse buildings. The Berserker cannot, so the Berserker can nicely be blocked off by simply putting yourself to here, and then preventing them from moving up. So we're going to go to here. We can't really hunker down, but what I'm going to do is I will. That was the wrong one. I will give you 8 protocol just to make a point. You can even block off Berserkers in those bridges by positioning yourself here, because they can't reach attack like the Faceless ones theoretically could. So another option to deal with those two is simply stand here. And as we're standing here, he will melee attack. And he will also melee attack. He will hit his friend. And I'm hoping that the melee attack of the Muton will also miss. So my prediction for what is going to happen is the following. He, the Berserker, cannot get up here. So although this would be perfectly in range, he will move all the way over here and do nothing. Maybe scream a little bit as he's getting shot. We're going to see the Faceless one hit both because it's using its sweeping attack. And we're going to see a melee attack from the Muton. So let's see if I know my game well enough. There is a chance that since he's out of cover, there might be a ranged attack. Low chance, but it could happen. Okay, missed the Muton. And there's the melee attack into unconsciousness. That's a low chance of happening, but it could happen. And so it exactly went down as I mentioned. Luckily, we do have revival protocol, so the unconsciousness really doesn't matter all too much. So how would you deal with those guys? The Berserkers, I would simply block off any path here and shoot them. I would go for the Faceless one first, simply because they can also destroy cover, and then afterwards it's time for the Muton. I would normally not recommend tanking Mutons in melee, because Hunker Down also doesn't fully work against targets that are standing right next to you. It would have worked if we're, for instance, behind here and they are attacking through half cover, then the Hunker Down would have definitely worked, but since the cover was completely removed, there isn't any Hunker Down bonus to begin with. So, lots of knowledge to take on. If you want to manipulate them, the Berserkers can be, just like the Losts, trapped downstairs. The Mutants can be tricked into melee attacking. If I would have given a 8 protocol to the target here, that would have very much worked. And if I would have flashbanged all of them on top of it, then flashbang plus 8 protocol would have almost guaranteed that the melee attack misses. Same, by the way, for the Faceless one. So that's how to deal with them. I hope you learned something today. Thanks a lot for watching. See you on the next episode.